Good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Gilmore, and this is the regular monthly meeting of the Simsbury Water Pollution Control Authority. And we have with us our distinguished clerk, Allison Sturgeon, myself, Paul Gilmore, Dr. Michael Park, Thomas Roy, Jacques Brignac, Ed Kelly, Lucian Dragulski, Tom Hickey, and our super Tony Piazza. So I got everybody right, and we are ready to rock and roll. So we'll start off with a safety brief, and a couple of things. One, I do want to mention the turtles again, because I saved a turtle again this last weekend. It was on Iron Horse, and they don't just cross the road slowly. This one was basking in the sun, enjoying the heat radiating up from the street. And so I had to stop and encourage him to go on his way. But I also want to say this again is about traffic, because I think that especially now that we're into the warmer months and by the calendar, maybe it's not summer for a couple of weeks. In reality, it is. And I just think that extra care needs to be had when driving. We always should be defensive drivers, but in the summertime, I just think that there are more people out on the road. That's more of a quote holiday season for some of those people out on the road because they're on vacation or what have you. And I just think that the opportunity for some problematic situations is magnified in the summer with more distracted driving, maybe people driving after they've been to events and shouldn't be driving. So I want to just emphasize, just be careful, because as I tell my own family, life can turn on a dime. And when it does, it's almost always bad. So that's my safety brief. All right. The OFS waiver request. Tony, you got this, right?
Yes, I have this. You have 4 pages with you of basically the emails back and forth with myself and Wesley Parker, who is the plant engineer for OFS in Avon, Connecticut. This has to do with the new industrial user permits that came out. They're requesting a pH waiver based on our town ordinance from 5.5 to 10, up to 10 for pH. The town ordinance actually only allows up to 9.5 to be discharged. In 2007, we did grant them a similar waiver to be able to go up to 10 for a pH on their discharge. And I actually, as my recommendation, that we allow this waiver of pH to vary from off of the town code for discharges from 9.5 to 10, a maximum pH.
So Tony, you said the last waiver was granted in what year?
2007.
Why is it like 14 years later?
Because that's about the last time the state actually did anything with the industrial user permits.
But don't we have isn't this like an annual limit that's supposed to be in place?
It's a 5. The industrial user permit is a 5-year permit.
Yeah.
And the state just renews it or lets it keep going. So there's no reason for any changes most of the time.
So in the last 14 years, they've been exceeding the pH limit then, right?
No, they had a waiver.
But I mean the 9.5.
Actually, no, they actually never even went up that high.
Oh, okay.
They had it, and we actually get their monthly discharge reports.
Oh, okay.
So they have never gone up above 9.5, but it's one of those just in case situations.
They want to. Okay.
So you're saying to this day they've not exceeded 9.5?
Correct. That I know of. They may have done something in the past, but with their new, and I can read what it says here. because of the newly proposed daily average flows, the maximum daily flows to 1,000 gallons. Typical daily flows range from 50 to 100, and the system has a low pH alarm. Under normal operating conditions, the pH for this remains below 10. 1 to 2 times a year, it may become over 10 or up to 10.
All right. So what's the environmental risk, if any, with respect to this?
Minimal. For us, it's nothing. For the amount they're discharging on a daily basis, the 100 gallons, 100 to 150 gallons a day is as we like to say, a drop in the bucket.
So do we know why the state sets this limit where they do?
The state actually, we are actually more restricted than the state.
Okay.
The state limit is actually 11.
And Tony, if you maybe want to just touch on the key thing too, is that they're relatively small daily discharges.
Yes. Yeah, it's only, like I said, it's only from 50 to 150 gallons per day is their normal discharges. And in this, like I said, the state limit is 5. The state limit for pH is 5.5 to 11. Our limit is 5.5 to 9.5.
Okay. Do we know why we set ours below the state?
It was when the town ordinance was written. I have no idea why it was set that way.
My best guess is that Tony's predecessor was a whisker more conservative than Tony is. And I think, you know, again, if this was a large volume discharge and it was close to the plant, you could get a slug of the high pH and it could have an impact on process. But being that this is coming from Avon, 50 to 100 gallons a day, it's not going to have an impact on the process of the plant.
Well,
I think
it'd be pretty well diluted by the time it gets to the plant coming all the way from Avon, right?
Correct.
Right. So, I mean, Tony's predecessor had a master's degree in microbiology, right?
I believe so.
Okay. So, I mean, scientifically, is there really any concern? I mean,
No.
Tom, you're a civil engineer, so
Yeah,
I don't really want to ask you about biology. And Tony, I don't know if your knowledge base is such that, I mean, are we talking about anything here that can have any real meaningful impact at all? And if not, if so, is there anything they can do to reduce it to stay compliant with us?
There is no impact from this. Like I said, like Tom said, if it was a larger volume and it was closer to the plant, the alkalinity would damage us. But because it's such a small volume and it's so far away, there's going to be no issues with this discharge at all.
All right. So once it goes from our plant into the environment, there's not going to be any risk to the environment either.
Not at all.
Okay. All right. All right. So do any of our members have any further questions, comments, or concerns?
So if we grant the waiver, how long is this waiver going to be in effect for?
It would be in effect for 5 years till the end of this industrial user permit.
Okay, and we do
Four
get,
4.5 years now. Sorry, 4.5 years.
and we do get monthly reports from them, you said?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And they look at this every day or sample once a month, or how's it work?
Their sampling requirements are weekly.
Weekly, okay, so once a week they sample?
Correct.
Okay.
And you also mentioned, Tony, that they have a pH alarm.
Yes, they have a pH alarm. Yes.
And is that alarm tested regularly?
I would assume it would have to be. I do not know the answer to that, Paul. If it was my plant, yes, it would be tested regularly. But
you know what?
I do not control their plant.
I mean, here's a thought. I'd be curious to know the last time their alarm was certified to be in good working order. Does anybody else care about that?
Well, I think as long as we get the alarm would be real time, so it would happen anytime they're not sampling, which is a good point, Paul. So the alarm is there, you know, they could sample today, let's say, and then tomorrow they can have an exceedance, but they won't sample again until whatever Tony said, a week later. So they could have this exceedance in the interval, and the alarm would pick up on that. But is that reported to us when they have an exceedance via their alarm, Tony?
If they have any exceedance of their permit, they have to report it to us.
Okay. And we haven't had any reports in
Not in my time frame.
So, yeah, you weren't here in 2007, or what year did you say it was? Yeah, 2007. So, okay. Yeah, but I think the question on the alarm is certainly a good one. I don't know,
Tony, what would be involved in getting an alarm certified to be in good working order and properly calibrated?
I don't know if you could certify it. You could test it. That's all I would say. Like, we test our alarms on our pump stations weekly. So that would be the only thing I would say. You use a pH tester and just go and test the pH on it, or test the pH, make sure the alarms, registers that pH.
Yeah, unfortunately, Paul, most companies, this is like a self-policing thing. They usually have a department that's in charge of calibrating all of their devices that's used in manufacturing. So it becomes a quality issue. But again, quality is, it's self-regulated. The product going out the door, if they're happy with the product going out the door and their quality control system isn't that great, I guess that's what you get. So all of this gets wrapped up into that. Tony, are they ISO certified, whatever?
I do not know. I do not know if they are not.
Yeah, okay. So it is kind of a self-policing thing, but
Okay.
there's no external entity that overlooks calibration of, industrial processes, unless there is like a discharge or something, then maybe it should be looked at by an independent agency, but I don't know.
Okay.
Is this type of request abnormal?
No, we've had these before.
Okay.
Well, I don't think we have too many industrial processes on our.
Not in Simsbury, and out of
Right.
Avon, we've had requests, similar to this with, Old Castle Precast had a similar request.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the company, but again, on Darling Drive, there's another, photosynthesis place there that had a request similar to this as well.
Yeah. How about those guys up by the airport? Do they do anything? I forget the name of them now.
Onan?
Phonon, they have an industrial permit as well, yes.
Yeah. Okay. But they're good. Okay.
I actually haven't looked at their permit in a while, so I'd have to, I couldn't tell you. They're good, but I couldn't tell you what if they have any variances or anything like that.
And Ed, for a very quick check, it appears that they are AS 9100D certified. I don't know what that means, but it was on the website.
Yeah. I haven't been working for a while, so I'm not sure what the latest is. I do know that ISO certification is a good thing, and it speaks to the company's quality control system, Paul.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in order to be ISO certified, they have to meet certain things, but
Okay.
what they are now, I don't really know.
Okay. All right. So if no one has anything further to inquire about or remark on this, I'll entertain any motion.
Okay, I'll move that we grant the pH waiver to raise the limit to 10.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All right. Let's put it to a vote audibly and by raising one's hand. All in favor, say aye and raise their hand.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that is unanimous. We are now on to item number 3 on the agenda, the status report on sewer extension projects. Tony.
The easy one to start with is Woodland Street. Tom and I met with a few residents last night to go over the project. We have the final plans in our hands, and we are going to have the bid specifications tomorrow. The plan is to put this bid out, or to put it out to bid on Monday. And the bid opening is going to be on July 6th. And hopefully construction will start shortly thereafter.
Okay.
We had a little hiccup with our design after we discovered a sycamore tree right on the sidewalk. So we had to redo the design a little bit to make sure we do not cut down the sycamore tree.
Okay.
Griswold Place, which is the I believe it's going to be the final phase of Powder Forest. All the sanitary sewers have been installed there. They still have to do the video inspection and air test, but the sanitary sewers are installed there. The one thing that just came up, or actually Climax Road, Hendricks Cottages, the manhole is put in for that. I actually just got the new easement documentation because they had to adjust the easement because of they shifted a house a little bit. So we didn't want an easement that was going to end up going through the corner of a house. So we had to adjust the easement a little bit. So I have the new documents for that will get registered with the town clerk. I was just contacted by the owner of 82 Climax Road, which is the properties behind that. And he now requests what he needs to do to extend the sanitary sewers to his property. So that being said, I am under the impression that it's going to be a sewer extension because he has 2 parcels back there.
Okay.
So it would have to be an 8-inch sanitary sewer line coming out of the manhole that we just installed. So he will have to go through the process of a sanitary sewer extension to get the line out to his property. So he will have to get engineered designs. Granted, even though it's only going to be 25 feet to get onto his property, we'll have to still have engineering designs, figure out if we want to have manholes. He'll have to request it through the board and things of that nature. So I will be writing him a letter probably tomorrow or early next week, stating the fact that the process he has to go through for the sanitary sewer extension to get the line to his property.
Now, is this the gentleman that didn't want to do this in the first place?
Yes, he did not want us to get access to his property to extend the sanitary sewer.
Okay, so he's flipped around. You tried to convince him to do this, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I think I won't actually. I was going to say something, but I'm going to leave it
No, that's
alone.
okay.
I have no idea about what's going on out there in the public.
Yep, that's okay.
So, but what Ed's referring to is the guy just did a 180, right, over a period of a couple of months?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's entitled to. He
Sure.
could have saved himself some money, but that's okay.
Right. Yeah. No, he could have. So, but hey, that's all right. People are entitled to change their mind and they think things through and sometimes look at things differently a little bit further down the road.
Yes.
It's human nature. Okay. All right. Treatment facility report.
Nothing's really new from last month. The big thing that's happening right now, Granite Inliner is actually in right now. They were in taking measurements and doing some visual inspections of the areas. They plan to start doing video inspection and cleaning on Monday. That may get pushed off a couple of days because they are in Southington right now and they're trying to wrap up being in Southington. The secondary clarifier launder project, RH White was in on Tuesday, verifying some measurements on the clarifier. They're planning on ordering all the parts for that, and hopefully to have that installed in October. And process-wise, we're doing wonderful. Well ahead of where we were last year for nitrogen, so we'll get a couple extra dollars out of that if everything stays good.
Very good. Does anybody have any questions about the report? Seeing no questions, let's move on to correspondence. Do we have any more correspondence other than the one we've been through on the waiver request?
There's a couple here. We sent a letter out to David Richmond, or I don't know if that's the waiver request you're talking about, Paul.
Oh, no, that one. Oh, yeah, I see that one, which we're just reporting the denial.
Correct. Actually, and I talked to him personally and explained to him why it was, and he was in full understanding of that. The other thing, Tom and I also met with the residents on Washburn Drive. and explained to them the process, and they're looking to go forward. So we actually sent out the letter with interest cards and fact sheet. I started doing a little bit of surveying out there myself just to make sure how we could run the pipe to make sure we could run it the way we want to. So right now, we're waiting for the interest cards to come back, and I'll probably have a quick survey done of the area, so we'll know which way we're going to be able to go. We have two different routes we could go, so we just want to make sure we're going to take the best route.
Essentially 4 houses with sanitary sewers on either side and some topographical challenges, but I think we have some options, and I think this may be a good process going forward. I think it was very productive meeting in an informal nature before we, went through the formality of having a public hearing. So,
Sorry, what street was this again?
Washburn, right off
Washburn
of
Drive.
Plank Hill.
So this is the one where you're going to do, you have done or you have not yet done this high-level design?
We have not done any design yet on this.
So you sent the interest cards out first?
We actually went and talked to the homeowners. They said they want to go ahead. So now we sent the interest cards out, and now we're into our process of starting a sewer extension.
All right, so we're not going to do the high-level design this time.
Well, Tony, I would say what we provided them was that very high level design. It was, we could go this way or we could go this way. And we let them know that until we get the survey, there's a lot of unknowns. We explained the process of going through. We explained the fact that if the sanitary sewer goes in front of your house, you're going to be assessed that cost. Just really giving them a chance to soak in all of the information that we normally do at the public hearing. But this being at the front end, let them now, when they respond to those comment cards, do so as informed residents.
All right, so the person who had a $900 problem to fix has an idea from speaking with you that it may be $10, $11, or $12,000 for a sewer, and they're still interested?
I don't know which one, if that one was still interested or not, Tony. I know the other ones were.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It was not quite unanimous, but I think, again, at least it was not as challenging as going very far into the process before we start to give people some information on how things work.
Okay. And that person with that $900 problem, though, was the one who initiated, got the ball rolling, right?
Correct.
It would be interesting to find out who the dissent was.
Well, we don't know if there's any dissents yet because we haven't
we
got
don't.
the official cards back yet.
Okay. All right. But there was some lack of unanimity.
There was some discussion that one of the 4 homes recently updated their septic and was not necessarily going to be in favor.
Okay. That means they're a no. That's kind speak for a no.
That would be pretty accurate, Paul.
All right.
So, Tony, when we get the cards back, what's the threshold for us to kick off a public meeting? Just one yes or one interest, or how does that work?
No, it's usually around 50%.
Around 50, we then would hold a public hearing.
Correct.
Get it kind of officially, comments officially on record from the homeowners. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Fair enough. So that's the entirety of the correspondence?
Yes.
Okay.
All
right.
right. You sent the letter to the gentleman asking for the waiver and told him that we denied his request.
Yes, that was the letter to David Richmond.
Yes. Okay. Anything back from him?
I spoke to him and he understood why the decision was made.
Okay.
All right. So then we're on to the May meeting minutes and possible approval thereof. Has everyone had a chance to review them?
Yep.
And yeah? That's an affirmative? Okay. Does anyone want to have any remarks or discussion about it? No? Okay. Well, that being the case, does anyone want to move for their approval?
Oh, so moved.
Anyone second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussions on the pending motion? Seeing no discussion, let's put it to a vote. All in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2. Any nays?
Abstention.
1 abstention. Is that a nay or an abstention from you, Lucian?
Abstention.
All right, 2 abstentions. All right. So before we go to item number 7, let's see, a couple of things. We did last month, right? The summer period for exercising authority. Okay.
Yes.
Is there any other business before we adjourn that anyone wants to bring up or remark upon?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Hearing no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Is anyone going to surprise me with discussion?
No, just-
Seeing no surprises, all in favor of adjournment? Say aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. All right, well, that's it. We're done, and it's been a 28-minute meeting.